Ever since the arrival of LeBron James being the most hyped draft pick of the century, the first overall pick since then has low-key been a curse more so than a blessing. The following 7 top picks after James have all been retired for years now, one of whom in Derrick Rose just had his jersey number retired by the Bulls, while Dwight Howard, picked the year after James, already got in the Hall of Fame, being the best for his class, yet his career still filled with heavy scrutiny, left off the top 75, too much controversy. After post-2010, Bron continues to outlast several top busts in Anthony Bennett, Philly's back-to-back screw-ups, Ben Simmons ousted after last season, and the mysterious Markelle Fultz picked 14 years after James out the NBA by age 26. Although several number 1 picks have lived up to expectations and became multiple-time All-Stars, some still not living up to their highest ceiling and caught a lot of flack from their poor performances all season, too talented to be this inconsistent, most of whom big men with size, starting with Anthony Davis of the Dallas Mavericks, living up to his nicknames, the biggest mockery of a star we've seen. His career after the Lakers, now seen as a useless throw-in piece in one of the worst trades all time, although he made it top 75, the best player in his draft class and a top 10 player easily over the last decade, now finding new ways to have different injuries, from adductor strain to detached retainer, Achilles, groin spasms, and finger damage. Thank goodness for modern technology and treatment. Had Davis been playing in the 80s and 90s against the more physical bigs, his career would have been over before age 28. The weird bogus injuries, AD played over 70 games just once over the last 8 seasons and just 3 times in his 14-year career. That 76 games played throughout the 2023-24 season could officially have been AD's last superstar healthy year. A Reddit post from OK Reaction 201 listed all his 296 total injuries, most of them foot, ankle, Achilles, basically almost all the bones possible. Craving for another max contract, all the extension talks over. Should the 32-year-old deserve a max for making it through? Absolutely not. Might have to live in the rehab center after every game until he retires from pro ball. Being in trade rumors, teams like the Hawks, Pistons, and even Warriors mentioned, Mavs fans now continue to watch their beloved Luka drop 30-point triple-doubles on the daily basis, and Davis being in the injury reports every week. Nico Harrison will forever be an absolute catastrophe for this abysmal of a trade. 20 games played this season, not so sharp Davis, 20 and 11 stat line. His season might already be over and it's still only January. In a mess of a situation, why would any teams risk their franchise for an unavailable damage past his prime big namer? Davis' legacy, known as a great player who had small spurts where he goes nuclear and can't be stopped, then all of a sudden become mediocre, banged up, nearing the end of his star days. AD absolutely matched up to his hype coming out of Kentucky, much better offensively than most imagined. Only thing he failed was to stay healthy. It's a travesty he never won a single Defensive Player of the Year award. The work ethic remains questionable. Given the comparisons with Giannis pre-2020, there was a massive debate who to build around. One clearly works harder on his game. AD even came to training camp almost 20 pounds overweight, had calf issues before the start of this season. His presence put the Mavs in a tough situation. When he plays hobble, his trade value near zero due to his contract, will probably still be in the Dallas Maverick uniform start of next season. Karl-Anthony Towns. The New York Knicks have been an absolute travesty after winning the in-season tournament in a conference that's more wide open than ever. The fact that New York trails Boston in the standings when they gave away Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis to save money with an injured Jason Tatum, unacceptable at all costs. The now 30-year-old big man still going to be a future Hall of Famer, still at least a top 2 player in his draft class, but way too sassy, questionable IQ, picks up silly fouls, should be dominating and averaging 24 and 13 just like last season, but only 20 a game, shooting his worst from the field for his career. His last 6 contests, averaging more fouls than assists, steals, and blocks combined. Unacceptable. Cat simply needs to be better. Looks like he'll never be anything more than third team all NBA caliber. Now in trade rumors, the most frustrating star player to watch when playing bad, him and Jared Jackson, the king of big men, are picking up the stupidest fouls at the worst moments. Talk about Mr. Triple Trouble. Him and new coach Mike Brown not getting along, the lack of hustle, complaining to the refs, not getting back on defense, infuriating, given his size and talents, the lack of effort makes you want to pull your hair off. Him and Brunson being the stars of the team, both defensive liabilities. If they're not cooking offensively, the Knicks nothing more than a second round exit. He's getting tested right now by the New York market. There were questions about his effort after being traded to the Mecca, given the questionable mentality, being in a big hostile market, with his backs against the ropes, enough of being too cute with his gestures. Towns needs to ball out and dominate. Sometimes he forgets he's 7 feet tall, just like AD, by far the most talented player in his class, the near consensus first overall pick, has proven his ability to shoot lights out, but the lack of common sense decisions and brain fart moments preventing him from taking the next step. We all know he's not a clear number 1, but if he can't be a number 2, that's a total failure. Having the inferior Mike Brown making everything worse, Towns not doing all the grunt work. If Cat wants to make it to the finals, needs to ignore the noise, play his game, average between 23 to 27 points, drain a few trays, avoid foul trouble, crash the glass, and capture the moment when he'll never be in a better situation to reach the finals in the weak East. Luckily for the Knicks, still have plenty of time to turn it around. The top teams in their conference like the Pistons, still unproven come postseason time. Mr. Cat not getting any younger. Deandre Ayton, an absolute travesty of a lazy, disgusting, horrendous, lackadaisical number 1 pick. There's a reason why 2 franchises got rid of him for scraps. From being picked ahead of current teammate superstar Luka in one of the most loaded class of the century, the most hated Lakers center since Kwame Brown, Butterfingers, soft as feather. The fact that Phoenix benched him for Jock Landale and got washed up Yusuf Nurkic in return for him tells you everything you gotta know. The Blazers even happily waived him for nothing in return. If LA don't make it out the first round, many will beg DA to be gone, more than likely accept his player option for next season, followed by a vet minimum going forward if he decides to continue playing. The disgusting performances last couple games, being benched in the fourth quarter, with his team having better energy without him, going 4 of 16 from the field in that Dallas game, a bunch of missed bunnies. Should DA be the next player to get investigated for gambling allegations? He's playing like it. If Luka and Bron can't make Ayton look good, he's good as gone from the league in less than 2 years. Many Laker fans thought this team would contend after the Ayton signing, but he's barely playing better than Jackson Hayes. He's only dominating twice a month, has the worst mental focus of any starting player, appears to play bad on purpose when he's just in a bad mood. The sheer talent absolutely there, but his attitude is some of the worst in the league. Many thought he'd be reaching his potential during the 2021 playoffs, but after Giannis destroyed him in the finals, Ayton couldn't give a damn about basketball. Mr. Lazy 7-footer, seen too many times not getting back on defense, jogging at 40%. It's very hard to teach motor in the big leagues. When you have all the talent in the world to become one of the best players but don't work on it, you're nothing more than mediocre. The type of guy 5 years from now will be out the league talking on podcasts about how much he matured as a person and wishes he had a better mentality when he's younger. The more he ends up in trade rumors, the longer he's on the Lakers, the worse for the franchise. The whole world officially sees his laziness, continues to avoid contact, tries to play basketball without getting touched, never imposes his will, way too finesse, being a big body, allergic to physicality. We've seen him benched by Monty Williams and Chauncey Billups several times. Only took a few months for JG Redick to figure him out. Never fights for position. If you're a big man role player and can't make all the effort plays, you're simply not a true rotational piece for a playoff contender. When locked in, LA's a great team, 15-3 when Ayton grabs double-digit rebounds, already burned bridges with multiple teams. What's crazy about his situation? With the bar being set so low to be effective, having 2 of the greatest offensive talents we've seen on his team, DA just needs to bring what 2020 JaVale McGee contributed, and he still can't do that. The Lakers thought they could celebrate after getting rid of D'Angelo Russell last season. Guess what they have now? Their big men version of D'Lo. Lakers wishing that Mark Williams trade fell through. There's a reason why Booker was massively pissed at Ayton. DA should easily be a top 5 center, even more talented than Bam if you ask me. There's a reason why the way less talented DeAndre Jordan will end up being a more memorable player and have a better career than Ayton, who's 10 times more talented but doesn't give a damn about the game. When your center's on the ropes, now 27 years old, supposed to be a 24 and 12 guy by now, inferior bigs like Jakob Poeltl, Isaiah Hortenstein, Jared Allen, and Miles Turner all average fewer points than Ayton but making twice as much money, all less skilled offensively, but all of them compete and give effort on the little things. Ayton simply has no more excuses. Being in Portland with zero expectations, they rather pay him to not show up to work when they're still trying to win games. Now with a chance to revive his career, stinking under pressure, LA now choosing to close games with Jackson Hayes down the stretch. In DA's delusional mind, he probably still doesn't see himself as a role player, knowing he's still that kid who got drafted number 1, believing he has the privilege to skip out on the little things. Lakers might need to hire a David Goggins type coach to work with Ayton for the sake of it. His lack of motor, very identical to Ben Simmons. The only videos he will be appearing end of this season, 5-minute clips of Shaq and the Fool. Paolo Banchero, now 23 years old, shouldn't be on this list this soon, but he appeared to regress after an amazing start last season. From 26 to 21 a game, takes awful percentage shots, sometimes forgets he's 6'10", 250, started out strong as a 20-point scorer, but now remains stagnant. Franz Wagner has played much better and shown more promise as a franchise player. By 2027, the Magic must make a serious decision that could make or break the team by choosing the right star to build around. Takes the worst percentage shots, too much ISO ball on a weirdly constructed team. His bad habits been encouraged despite being a physical mismatch and ball dominant. Banchero's not a good shooter, abysmal defense, bad finisher, not even a good passer. Depending on how far Orlando make it this postseason and Eastern Conference Finals berth, Banchero puts up good numbers, everybody will be back on the bandwagon, but a first round exit, there will be trade rumors circulating all summer. Speaking of trade rumors, the heavily disappointing, most forgotten number 1 pick of this generation, Zacharie Risacher. 15 years from now, an amazing NBA trivia question that'll even stump the biggest experts. Who was the first pick of the 2024 draft? Despite being in a relatively weak class, still embarrassed, he got sent to the G League. From draft day, we all knew he had a low ceiling compared to other top guys. If the Frenchman was in the 2025 class, would he even go top 5 in the draft? I doubt it. On a team without pressure or expectations, Atlanta found their franchise guy, Jalen Johnson, who happens to play the same position. Makes Zach look like just a spot-up shooter, averaging 11 a game, subpar shooting. Could the 6'8" small forward be the worst top pick since Markelle Fultz? As long as he has a better career than say Deandre Ayton, he'll be alright. Could he become just a good 3-and-D on a good team and end up like Jabari Smith? Possibly. Still only 20 years young, saying last year, and now just a regular dude in the NBA, not a promising thing to say at all. Given the rise of draft mates Alex Sarr, even Reece Shepard showing good signs, and Stephon Castle of course looking like a future all-star, Donovan Clinton and Zach Edey both also better. Risacher somehow worse than last season despite finishing second for Rookie of the Year because he was a good fit next to Trae Young. That's why he was picked first overall. The dumbest thing any team could do is draft due to fit. When you have the number 1 pick, you always draft who you think's the best player regardless of position and figure out the rest later. The Atlanta Hawks franchise, the biggest victim of being in the most unlucky draft since 2013. As of now, Risacher has no identity in the NBA. Things don't help when Coach Quinn Snyder don't believe in you. When expectations gets too high, even if your ceilings reach, every number 1 pick will be judged more heavily than any other guy in their class. Some of these players might in fact have number 1 pick talent, but none of them have all-time work ethic, no consistency to become a true MVP. As for Anthony Davis, could he just end up being a banged up injury prone Day-to-Davis guy the rest of his career? Will Cat only last less than 2 seasons at the Mecca? Ayton on his way out the NBA after his time with the Lakers? Banchero, just an average low 20 points a game guy and not a franchise player? Risacher, already a bust? Only time will tell. The results aren't looking promising as of today.